All right, we are ready to get going. Type of one if you are pumped. This is so many years in the making, and I'm really excited to be going through this with all of you because uh, I'm very grateful that I found my calling at 12 years old. My grandma showed a documentary about human trafficking, and that was the day that I woke up. And I went back to my room as a little girl and just thought, that could have been me. I could have been her. And by sheer blessing, luck, whatever you want to call it, winning the lottery of life, that is not my life story. But I'm aware of this issue and I want to do something about it. And I'd love you all to take a second and just type in the chat something that has taken you to heightened levels of anger or sadness, something that has just really moved you in your life that you would be wildly uncomfortable dying and doing nothing about it. Now we've got people talking about animal abuse, child exploitation, childhood cancer, animals, drug and alcohol addiction, hungry children, human trafficking, lots of child abuse, pedophilia is my people, substance abuse, suffering in any form, women and children exploitation, wrongful convictions, injustice of the justice system, malpractice. There's so many important causes out there, guys. And one of the quotes that changed my entire life when I met one of the most impactful humans that walks the face of this planet was, Brittany, evil will rise when good men and women do nothing. Now, my journey from 12 to here is absolutely not what I would have imagined for my life. And I'm so grateful that God took me this path because I couldn't have known, I couldn't have seen it. I wasn't raised in a household that taught you that you need to build wealth to fund your purpose. And so that idea didn't come to me. And the churches and schools and things that I went to really, and Disney painted the people who had wealth as the bad guys. And I thought that if you had a bunch of money, you automatically became a bad person. But when I started going on mission trips, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 years old, I would go for a specific reason and then I'd end up getting really infuriated because I'm here to help with this cause and I'm finding over 100 more. Children starved out, kids in dumpsters, the exploitation through the roof, poverty, woman abuse, lack of clean water, no food. It was so heartbreaking. And then I'd come back to the United States where we have it all. And I would meet some of the most depressed humans. And they were depressed because I believe you're going to be that way when your soul knows it's not acting in alignment with why it came here. Now, we're all guessing why we're here in the first place, but my guess is that we come down here and part of our mission is to help end human suffering. I think that's one of the most pure forms of love, and I believe we are here to expand God's love. But we have a choice every single day. And what's really infuriating to me is that the people with the resources, the talent, the brain, the heart, these beautiful, amazing, passionate people are struggling in every single area of their life and or just one that's knocking them out of the game. Now, don't worry, I've struggled in all the areas over and over and over again in my life, but like we talk about with our heroes, we need more tools in our rucksack to be able to pull out and know how to get through different situations. And so the Force for Good is that network that's here to help you to not only survive, but thrive and to overcome the obstacles that have blocked so many other people from moving the needle of humanity forward in the area that you feel called to most. So, the big thing that's haunted me for many years is, why are the biggest hearts, the people with these just beautiful hearts to serve humanity, not the billionaires? So screw it. We're going to create a community that exposes people to having those tools, to being able to be the ones with those resources. Because what I've learned in changing my mindset from broke to awoke, as seen, J Money Newsom right there. We've got this amazing podcast that talks all about that. But as I've shifted my mindset, what I've learned is that money does not change you. Money reveals you. All it is an expansion tool of your heart. That's it. If you're a good person, you can do so much more good with it. If you're a bad person, you can do so much more bad with it. And we are absolutely not going to just talk about money on these calls. We're going to talk about how you can elevate all the areas of your life that make you an unstoppable force for good. So, my goal with this community is to expose the people, the best humans on the planet that have those capabilities and the passion to the network, experiences, and resources to walk in an abundance of wealth and time so you can do something about it. Because again, I've got a lot of really wealthy friends. I've got a lot of doctor friends, but they're a slave. They're a slave for exchanging time for money. And I want you to be able to go on a mission trip if you feel called to come on a mission trip with us. If you want to be a stay-at-home mom for the next 5 years to really invest in your kids, I want you to be able to do it. Stay-at-home dad, doesn't matter. I want you to find and understand how to align your life in such a way that you are a slave to no one or nothing. When I first got started in this, I went to a ministry school. And so I was like part of a church and all this stuff. And I started getting into real estate investing. And they're like, wow, man. Once I started doing really well, they're like, I think money might be your God. And I said, well, I just did a deal that took me a total of 4 hours of my time and I made $60,000 on it. How long does it take you to make $60,000? So I want you to ask yourself, at what point is money your God? Is money your God when you spend every hour working on it, thinking about it, when it all consumes you because you have so much debt you can't think about anything else? Or is money your God when you've learned how to use a tool to be able to create enough value that creates a delta to where you got paid the difference? So we're going to start breaking off some of the limiting beliefs that have kept us trapped from walking as a fully funded, fully functioning force for good in the world. And that is a big part of this community. Type a 3 if that's exciting to you. One of my favorite quotes, it's super deep. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. This is by Pitbull. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. This guy was on the streets and he grew up in a super impoverished family. I had the amazing privilege of meeting him. His story is amazing. And his mom would take him to school every day and force him to listen to Tony Robbins. And he rebuilt his mind and he made his way out. And now he gets to perform on Tony Robbins stages all the time, which is just a fun, cute, full circle moment for him. But it's all in the power of not just your inputs, what's going in here, but who do you surround yourself with? There's a law in the subconscious world that you are only going to give yourself permission to do what you see possible for you. And you don't want to get kicked out of your village. Like our survival brain is wired to not get kicked out of the village so we don't get eaten by dinosaurs and cougars and disease and all the other weird things that are outside the village walls. So if you do something that your village doesn't like, they'll just kick you out. If you look crazy, guess what they did with crazy people back in the day? They kicked you out. And so we want to pick our village. And what's beautiful about today is virtually we can connect to some of the most amazing people on the planet through the World Wide Web. So wonderful. And in this community. So we want to pick our friends. We want to pick our village. And that's really what this is all about. And this is not for everybody, for the love of all that is good. When I started my career, I could not find anybody that cared about certain things the way that I did. They're all like, Brittany, you just need to be a nonprofit. You're just a tree hugger. You care too much about everything. You care. You're never going to make money doing this. And I will tell you, I did not make as much money on certain deals because I cared about the little old lady, or I cared about not tearing down this 100-year-old oak tree and building a bigger house on that lot, or I didn't care. There's so many things that my giving a crap factor may have not paid me that day on, but in the end, so many people would bring me business because of my give a crap about all the things. Does that make sense? You might not win day one, but you will win in life by caring deeper and having this level of compassion. And so, why join this force for good? First of all, if this is all resonating with you, your tribe is here. Again, we're going to work with the dreamers, but also the doers, the builders, and the ones who refuse to accept the world the way that it is. Because I am not going to live in a world that children are being trafficked and do nothing. I'm not going to. There's no way. Zero chance. I'm going to live the rest of my life going on my nice little vacations every blue moon and raising my cute little family and going to football games. And I do nothing because this is a cause that moved me. My soul knows I'm called to do something about it. I have a grace for that. So I'm looking for other people who want to change the world. On my office in Nashville, before COVID, when we all had offices, I had a big sign on my door that said, the ones who are crazy enough to believe they can change the world are the ones who actually do. So that my staff, before they walked in the door and told me I was crazy, they would read it and realize that Steve Jobs said that. And so it's not just my opinion. So I want you all, the people who refuse to accept the world the way it is and not make a meaningful difference in the thing that they feel called to do, this is for you. It's also fuel for your fire. So surrounding yourself with people who make you braver, bolder, and more unstoppable. I was in a room the other day and I was telling my story. It was like member spotlight in this community I'm part of. And we all went around and this one guy stood up and part of his story was the first time he was sued for $200 million. It was just the first time. I was like, oh my gosh. Now everybody in this group I'm in is mostly billionaires. And it was so permission giving to me. Not that I want to be sued for anything, but that he could overcome that. And he was standing here smiling and successful and doing great. He found a way to overcome that. And that permission just told me that you're gonna go through hard times, Brittany. You're gonna be attacked. You're gonna have weirdos. You're gonna have really scary sound bites that give you instant diarrhea. But don't quit. That's not the end of your story. People make it out of those things. So we want to make you braver. When somebody backs you against the wall or the world backs you against the wall, the only way through it is to have someone to call. And we pray and will be a conducive environment for a safe place for you to tell somebody you're about to lose it all. And they'll help you go through those times. I've made those calls, sadly, too many times. But I've taken big risks and I've had big reward, but I also have an amazing community of people in my life that have stood by my side when I am beat down instead of kicking me while I'm down. And we want to be that for you. So I want you to be braver, bolder, and more unstoppable. Unlock the playbook. So tap into the hard-won wisdom from leaders who are actually moving the needle of humanity forward. Our speakers every month are really specialists on their topics that will help you elevate in different areas of your life. And what I love is surrounding myself with people who believe and actually want to pour into me and make their ceiling be my floor. Like, why learn all those lessons for the last 10 years that it took Dr. Clay to get something together when you could learn it in days, weeks, hours, months? It took him 10 years to learn these things. We'll learn our own lessons. Why not learn from him when we can? All right, I want you to grow your business and income. So I started G-Force, and this is a revamp of that because this is now open to all of you. But I started that in 2020 because I knew the world was going to come crashing down in very specific ways. And J Money Newsom's been with me since then. He was an absolute incredible force teaching people how to invest in stocks. We taught people how to find the opportunity, not the excuse. So write this down, guys. Money never goes away. It only switches places. So if it's not in cruise lines because COVID shut cruise lines down, it might be in alcohol wipes or alcohol delivery. It's going somewhere, right? People are still spending money. So how do we find those opportunities? How do we focus on those opportunities and invest accordingly in our time and energy? If all you do is watch the news, guys, I'm just writing this down. I'm telling you right now, you're screwed. You can't just watch the news. They are paid to scare you. It is a for-profit business paid to scare you. So how do we surround ourselves with elite thinkers? that, like the Rockefellers, say we make our money when there's blood in the streets, which means when the rest of the world is freaking out, losing their minds, jumping off buildings because it's all over. Nope. Where do we invest when everybody else is scared? We want to come together and not be scared together. We are opportunity creators for the rest of the world. We're not sheep just following whatever everybody else is doing. That is our identity. And I want you to write that down. You are an opportunity creator. And if you're part of this community, that's our expectation. So to grow your businesses, and everybody in G-Force that year grew their business and income 2 to 4 times what it was. 2 to 4 times. Nobody went down. Nobody went dark. Everybody grew their either doubled or quadrupled their income. So that's the kind of network and mindset and opportunities we want to be sharing with you guys. Because again, if the good people aren't all billionaires, you know why they're not the freaking billionaires? Because they sit around and beat themselves up all day. We think it's holy to just beat ourselves up and tell ourselves that we're not good enough, especially the ladies. Come on. Does it really help the child in Honduras that desperately needs you to get your crap together so they don't die of a waterborne illness for you to just sit around and say how not pretty you are, not good enough, how you always screwed up? We're all going to screw it up for the rest of our lives. There's no such thing as perfect. So let's at least try. Let's at least try. Okay? We want to multiply your impact because what you can do alone is nothing compared to what we can do together. And I learned this amazing, I don't know, military thing from my husband. He calls it force multiplication. So on a Green Beret team, they have teams of 12 and they can oversee like, is it 1,200, Jeremy? Are you on? 12 can oversee 1,200. It's something amazing where just a small group of organized people that come together with their skills and a united mission can have such a crazy effect on the world. That's our goal. So we're not looking for membership. We're not looking for like, this is you pouring into you. And we're going to pour into you too. But we're really trying to create a movement here because I'm sick and tired of seeing the people with the skills, assets, or access to assets and resources TikToking their life away, depressed, all those things. The same reason we invest in the heroes. You think this amazing elite level skill set should eliminate themselves? They're the only ones capable and qualified to do these special missions. They're the only ones. They're the chosen ones. And so, of course, darkness has a hit on them. If you felt like darkness has a hit on you, the enemy doesn't attack that which it does not fear. Okay? I think the disciples like celebrated every time they got attacked. I'm not there yet. We still got some work to do. I don't love it. But the point is, you are to be feared. You are here for a reason. You are on this call because something's reaching out to you. You know there's more for you. And again, that's what we're trying to do. So it's not for everybody. It's only for people who are actually committed to aligning their life with their purpose. That's it. We don't want people who are just half-aing their life because I don't play around. The people, oh, I'll talk about that in a second. I'll get to that. All right, anyway, this is for people who deeply desire to be a force for good in life, business / their income. I don't think everybody should have a business, but whatever your streams of income are that can help set you free, or your business, which can also be a vessel in which you use to be a force for good. And the resources, whatever you have. You know, after the hurricanes, when I lost almost everything in my life, from my marriage to most of my business, to my team, to the asset I just poured into, I looked around and instead of focusing on everything I didn't have, which is what I thought about before I hit the ground, was what do I have? We always have something we can be a blessing with, something we can help people with. So you have to really think through that and understand if all I have is hugs, I can change the world with a hug. But if I own an island, how would I use the island to change the world? If I owned a whole city, if you own a boat, if you own a car, if you own a house, how can I be a force for good with my resource? Whatever God has given me to steward in my life, I want to steward it well. All right. It's for those who are truly engaged in the long-term success of this community. Don't worry. If we find out somebody's poisoning, we'll vote you off this island so freaking fast. I have a zero tolerance policy for bad attitudes nowadays. None. I can't handle it. There's too many important things to think about and to deal with. There's too many important missions out there. If you guys ever read our cases that come in on aerial recovery, it's truly humbling to me that I even get to help with it. Lifelong dream come true, but some days are so heartbreaking and horrific. When somebody complains about something stupid, I just can't handle it. So we're going to do this community imperfectly. I promise you that. But we need people who are going to contribute and make it better and more awesome. So people who do the work, people who enjoy actively sharing their ideas, experience, somebody who's going to contribute to the community too, like help with solutions, help people out of things, operate in a community of mutual respect, confidentiality, positive attitude. Again, we'll go through the rules later, but biggest thing is, guys, no poison. We're here to help each other. Everybody's struggling with way more than you'd ever imagine. This is going to be a place of peace. It's going to be fun and it's going to be motivating. All right, so our core mission is the Force for Good exists to connect people to their purpose and calling in the world. My husband calls me the purpose ninja all the time. It's like the one thing I'm good at is helping people find their purpose and one karaoke song. It's required if you live in Nashville. It's not an option. So that's why I only have two. All right. I believe one of the biggest problems on the planet that's only going to get heightened by AI is there's a global purpose problem. And now AI is going to take so many jobs. And it's doing a lot of critical thinking and it's taking a lot of specialties and it's able to pull together and it's just getting started, guys. It's pulling together the information from the planet, from all of human inputs, from all time. So much of our little things that made us special are going to get replaced. So what's your purpose? A lot of people are going to start struggling with this even more than ever have before. So it's so important for you to have a solid foundation in your heart, in your core, because everybody's going to tell you you should be doing this. You should be doing this. That's marketing. That's how they sell their products. You should be. Well, no shoulding all over yourself. Write that down. No shoulding all over yourself. Get the should out of your life right now. Okay? There is no should. Who are we accountable to? Where are you getting your divine direction from? How do we step outside of so much access and should, and get clear on what we want and what we would be proud of? That's what I want to help you with. I'm going to die someday, guys. I don't think I'm going to die of cancer, but getting cancer makes you really think even harder on what do you want to leave the world with? So we're launching this because I'm not going to die with being the purpose ninja. If I can help you find yours, I'm going to do it. All right. Currently, millions of people are disconnected from their calling, living these reactive lives. The drama out there is just, again, nutso to me. I don't even know how people have time to talk about other people, but people are doing it. People are lacking alignment across their key life pillars. You can have a lot of money in a terrible marriage or a great marriage and horrible health. You need all of them if you're going to be unstoppable. So the goal of this community is to help people heal themselves first. I have really come to understand how important healing is. You guys know that 95% of the traffickers that we arrest through aerial recovery were also victims. They were also victims. And you know what happened? They didn't get healing, and so they continued the cycle. We can all continue terrible cycles if we don't get healing. So healing is the most important thing. And don't worry, neither my husband or myself are soft kumbaya people. We've got like more of a warrior slash badass approach to healing. But it's just required. It's important. All right, next is to align your life pillars. So how can the vision for my life bleed into the way in which I make my money? And then that feeds into the person you want to marry, and then the way I want to raise my kids. And therefore, that dictates how my health should be. And therefore, I need this much money in order to fund all of these things. And like it's an ecosystem. Traditional Chinese medicine has taught me how all the things work together. You can't just chop this one area out and think it's going to go well. everything's got to come into alignment. So we want you to align your life pillars so that you really are unstoppable and you want to live intentionally in your calling. It's really one of the sadder things that I find is how little vision people have taken the time to have in their life. They're just looking at what's right in front of them. They're just waking up and hoping the day goes well. And then, like, they're getting in the car of their life. They just start driving. They don't have a destination. They didn't pack well. They don't even have the right people in the car. And it might not even be the right vehicle. So, in order to be successful getting somewhere you want to go, you got to pick that destination and then have everything else come in alignment. Type 3, if you're still with me, still excited. All right, we also want to help you build the organizations and projects that make the world better. I love aerial recovery. I love the island. I love all the great things that I've built, but I want you to do your thing. I don't believe in competition. There's too many people to help. If you don't believe me, please come on a mission trip. Please, there are too many people to help for us to be competing. All right. So, biggest things that my mentors, starting with April Reed back in the day when I was 17 years old, the biggest thing, she forced me to buy my first house, that my mentors have done from April to Polly to Clay, these just amazing people in my life, is they push me really far outside my comfort zone. And every single time it makes me furious. I get really mad at them. I will be kicking and screaming and talking crap behind their back in my head about, like, oh, they asked me to do this, blah, 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 blah. But they saw something in me that I didn't see in myself yet. And magically, I always got done the thing they were forcing me kicking and screaming to do. Everybody's like, oh, that's so cool. You bought your house when you were 18. I actually didn't want to buy it. I was so scared. I went and looked at the houses, but then when it came time to actually buying it, I was so scared that I tried to get out of it. And April made me buy it. She forced me to. And and that actually was a terrible deal. I owned that house for 10 years and made $0 at the end because it was such a bad neighborhood and the recession started and it was on a flight path. It was like giant jets were basically landing on the roof. I had terrible tenants over and over again. But guess what? That act of faith and even getting into a bad deal started the rest of my life. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you guys today if it wasn't for that one little house in Charlotte, North Carolina. Terrible neighborhood. So, my way of loving people. You should all write this down because when you're annoyed at me, just realize, oh no, she's actually loving me. Is that I'm not going to let you play small. I'm not going to let you drift, which is just floating through life. I'm not going to let you give up on yourself. That's when it comes to life or death things or the vision you have. I'm so grateful for people like Chauncey and Newsom that when I have wanted to quit many times, have yelled at me or held me, let me cry and say all the things that I wanted to say, and then say, all right, get up. Get up, warrior. Get up. This is bigger than you. That's why I have the word Ariel on everything, guys. It's because for me, I've learned to love myself more in the last several years, but it's so important to me that I didn't just overcome this obstacle to make more money. I'm just not motivated that way. I overcame this obstacle because there's a little girl out there in Costa Rica that's living in hell that no one cares about. I want to get past myself, my problems, my own little world enough to have a bandwidth to care about her. And that's what I feel called to do. So you're not allowed to quit on yourself, guys, because you're part of something bigger than you. I really do believe you're part of a big, beautiful, divine plan. So what I ask is it's not just me doing this. Type a 5 if you commit to doing the same for everybody else in this community. Amazing. Okay, we've got the life pillars framework, guys. So world changers don't just happen by accident. I mean, changing the world is not the easiest feat, but it's freaking doable. It is doable. But the formula that I've found is they build one pillar at a time. So what we found is that if you have the following pillars of your life with a vision and an ecosystem that allows them to all be doing well then again, nothing can stop you. If all you have is your financial pillar together, that's amazing. But if you don't have your mind right and your marriage is going to hell in a handbasket, you have no relationship with in your spiritual life, you have no purpose, and your body's about to quit, who cares if you're a billionaire on a yacht and you're about to have a heart attack 2 days later and no one loves you? You know, we want to have it all, and I know you can. Most people only take the time to make a business plan because so many other pieces of your life depend on you having the financial ability to survive. But again, who cares if you're a billionaire if you have no love, if your body's about to quit, if you hate your life, and you have no purpose? So you want to have them all. And I know you can have them all. And they're not all going to be perfect, but we at least want to have them organized in alignment. Aren't these icons the coolest? These are actually Jeremy Locke's tattoos. They're so cool. I love them. So these are actually the strong six pillars of our family and of the life that we have committed our future to. So I want to go through the different things that the collective has for all of you, because again, this is a great free group. So what it looks like is every first Thursday of every month, we're going to deep dive into one of these pillars because I want you growing even incrementally in those. In the Broke to Awoke podcast, we talk about if you change your life by even 1 degree, just 1 degree, how much different your life is going to be over the course of enough time. There's a transatlantic boat captain that gave me this example. And he says, if you are off in your coordinates by 1 degree on a transatlantic boat trip, you will end up in a different continent. A different continent. So if Chauncey gives you one idea, or Dr. Clay Lauder gives you one idea that changes the course of your life, with enough time, you're going to be somewhere better. So I'm going to be introducing you to my incredible network of people. That is something I do have together very well. Between people I've met on the island to some of the communities I've been invited into, I have an amazing group of people that I call mentors for me. And I get to pick the best of the best pieces from people I want to be like. And when I was 17, I really looked up to this girl that was in my special forces group. That was what my little survival school I went through was called. And she was just like beautiful and so smart and strong. She could do more pull-ups than all the guys, and yet she was all things feminine. And then on our trip to Costa Rica, she like fell apart and was crying over missing her boyfriend and did like two weird things. And I, as my 17-year-old brain, I like totally stopped respecting her. And I think that's so stupid. Now that I look at it, I'm saying, why not pick the best of the best pieces of people who are experts in a specific area and kind of build a barrier life? I want to learn financial education from Holly. I want to learn how to get my body in peak performance from Charlie. I want to get my mind right with Dr. Billy Alsbrooks. I want to get my relationships on fleek because Chauncey's the best when it comes to like really having and creating a life with a purpose partner. So that's what we want to expose you guys to every month. It's going to be so awesome. Again, this has never been an open call ongoing, so I'm super excited about this. All right, and then the community. So the G-Force calls historically have been 2 hours long. And people didn't want us to make them shorter because we would go through the most incredible stock picks. Ugh. And like we wouldn't tell you what to buy, but Newsom would tell you what's going on in the market. He's slowly educating everybody on how to learn the language of wealth building through stock investing. We would have real estate tips. We'd say, where's the market going now? What regions are we investing in? How do you actually do things like build a dadu in your backyard and net an extra $80,000 a year on something that cost you $100,000 to build? We would have tips on how to improve your relationship, your health, especially now that I've been on this cancer healing journey holistically. What am I seeing are the stupid stuff that we've got in our house that's poisoning us from the inside out. Where are the better products? Book recommendations will change your life. So we'd go through book recommendations and then we would talk about the best AI tip on which apps you can use for what, how to implement them in your business so you can move farther faster using the power of technology. And so instead of having a 2 hour long call, we're going to be emailing you these tips which is really exciting. And we'll actually email you every week, everything from different videos to investor tips, to the tools that have been changing our lives because we want you armed with the best resources ever. All right, so this is really exciting. This has never been done before in the history of our life either, as we're calling this circle is called the Special Forces for Good. So if you guys want to have like the hardcore version of being part of this community, as I know a lot of our heroes are going to want to do this one, still zero extra cost, but you guys are going to be invited on different expeditions and training. So the expeditions might cost money, the training might cost money, but zero extra dollars to be in this circle is what I'm saying. So you can be training with us to actually go serve on missions that Aerial Recovery, our partner nonprofit of this community, uh, such as anti-human trafficking training. Again, it's application only, so we want to make sure you guys know that. But then there is a Dead Sea to Everest type of one if you're interested in climbing Mount Everest. So there is a huge, amazing expedition for this in 2027 that on our way to having certain people go on that expedition, or at least a piece of that expedition, you can come on a Yellowstone hike or a Mount Baker trip. So really excited. I know I see you, Carly. Hi. Carly's husband's going on those too. So fun training, push yourself to the limit, guys. One of the things that I did not do well in some of my life was taking the time to do fun things for me. Um, Again, I've been riddled with meeting the kids that these things are happening to, and that brought me joy, but I didn't just go do adventures. And adventures can really just broaden so much of your life. So we want to invite you guys to push yourselves and to train for things and enjoy them. But obviously, there's going to be some really incredible human beings that you get to bond with on those trips. So mission trips too. Everything is application only. You know, make sure that you guys know what you're getting into. But we do want to invite our members Mm. To, I'm going to say it the way I really want to say it, wreck yourselves in the best way. If you really want a different perspective on your life, come on a mission trip. Come on a mission trip. You go to the front line of need and you see 400 children that have nothing and they're selling things in the middle of a highway, and they've got an infant on their back, you're ruined. And I say ruined, it's ruined in the best way. For me, I went on one of these trips at 13 years old. That's why I want you to bring your kids that are 11 up, because your kid's not going to struggle with video games after this. Your kid's not going to be sleeping around and doing drugs when they realize that the world needs them to activate into their purpose. If you're not seeing this stuff, you're just going to do what the world tells you. You need more likes. Carly's kids came on a mission trip to Honduras with us, and they were so loving. They were just holding these babies and giving them the love that they've never ever been given because we were serving in an aftercare facility. And Carly, you want to pop on and just say how you thought it changed them?
Um, gosh, we often feel like maybe we spoil our kids by bringing them on elaborate vacations, and so the trip to Honduras was, anything but. It was just for the soul, just to feed the soul, and I was really surprised at both of my kids at how helpful they were, especially Ray because she's not as loving towards her little sister as she was these little babies. I was like, dang, I didn't even know you liked kids. Really, really poured into that community. She still talks about baby health. She wants to go back and see, how that baby has grown. And I told her that when we go to Ecuador later this year, she was kind of like, but what about my friends in
Aw.
Honduras? So it's definitely a lifelong relationship, and they real a lot out of it. So
Thank you. Thank
thank
you.
you.
Well, they were amazing contributors. It was really fun. They actually brought a pair of shoes for all the kids that were in this. It's like an orphanage that we were serving at. And this little boy had just gotten off the streets. And when he was handed this pair of blue shoes, he was like 9. He started weeping. Oh, I can't even like talk about it. He was like weeping because it was his first pair of shoes he's ever owned that were new. And blue is his favorite color. And he just held those shoes. It was, anyway, this access to the front line and getting to see, even if you don't feel called to Ecuador or Honduras, just come and just realize how small your problems are when you get home. All my problems become so much more doable. And I think that's critical as an entrepreneur for you to know I can get through this because it matters. These are real problems, these are not. And it's just helpful for your mindset. Um, all right, so that is the Force for Good Collective. There are some different levels that have different costs just because they're a lot more involved, but that is all free. And we want you to, and you are part of the community. You are invited to come on these things. The Collective Pro, we have over I think it's like 300 plus hours of courses broken down into the Strong Six Pillars. It's only $50 a month, and you can listen to any and all of these courses at any point and really start growing in purpose, spiritual. I really want to go deeper in financial. So instead of waiting for the next month's call, if you want hundreds of hours of courses, there is a cost to us, which is why there's a cost to you for this one. But it's absolutely worth it. And you'll just go farther faster if you have the time and you just want to listen to this kind of like a podcast in the background, growing from these amazing experts that we've got access to. And then there's the investor circle. So this one's also not for everyone, but I've had so many people ask me, I know you've never wanted to be like the guru that coaches people on and like flipping houses, but the only reason you are where you are, Brittany, is because you learned how to be a real estate investor and you've had incredible mentors and you do know how to do this. You know how to do it in a recession. You know how to do it with COVID. You know how to do it with hurricanes. You know how to do this. Will you please teach me? And so this is, oop, hold on. I lost my screen here. Hold on one second. This is for those who want to go, there's a different call once a month, and we're going to teach you how to be a real estate investor. We are going to, or not just real estate investor, sorry, we're going to teach you how to be an investor. We want you to learn not just how to invest, but how to protect it. We want you to take the secrets of the wealthy and apply it to your taxes, to apply it to your structures. We want you to not get into bad deals. And so the first the first hour, this is a 2-hour call every month, is you learning how to be a real estate investor or tax optimization, private equity investing, stock market strategy, crypto, blockchain, estate planning, family offices, legacy and estate, capital raising, business acquisition strategies, really being in a room with other people who want to learn at the same time, are at different levels and having access to that. What I've found is even if you've let your brain go there, let's say Alex is new at investing. Why does she need to learn how to build a family office? Because once her subconscious has gone there, she's going to understand and not sabotage herself when it gets closer to being there. And then the second hour is going to be people actually presenting deals that we have scrubbed through. We understand these are incredible people that we've worked with for years that have real deals that people might want to invest in. So this is everything from apartment complexes to rezones to probably not very many single family house flips, but real opportunities, mostly apartment complex type syndications that, again, are invite only that people would want to be part of. I've got some doctor friends that make a ton of money, but they're going to work the rest of their life. They're going to work the rest of their life because they don't have other income sources that will be able to replace their income. So this is only for people who want to learn how to become an investor. This is the first 12 months of calls. And what's included is that live call, again, invite only deal opportunities, resources, which is templates, checklists, things like will, estate planner. We're going to connect you to those vetted pros that can help set you up. And then a private community quarterly guest expert. So we're going to have a once a month call and then even bigger calls every single quarter. And then an annual in-person summit on the island, which is really exciting. So, and then all of those calls will be recorded and kept in your library, but that is only for the investor circle. All right, that's only $1,000 a month, guys. I want to make this super easy for you. Okay, I'm about to go in and have Tori show you what the platform looks like. Because again, this is an introductory call, but Collective Guys, free, open to all of you. If you want that library of huge resources, as well as priority access to retreats, coaching programs, island events, mastermind mission trips, that is only $50 a month. And then if you really want to learn how to create that cash flow that sets you free by becoming an investor, then this investor circle opportunity is open to you. All right, Tori, I'm going to turn it over to you and then I'll pull this back up for people to be able to scan the QR code.
Perfect. Hello, everybody. So good to see so many familiar faces and some new ones. All right, let me share my screen for you just so I can kind of walk you through. This community is, although we have plenty of awesome in-person adventures and mission trips like Brittany just talked about, primarily based online, and there's so many resources in here. So I want to just kind of walk you through it so you know what to expect, where to find different things. And then, of course, once you get in there, if you have any questions, I'll show you where you can ask questions about that too. So let's pull this up. All right, you guys see the home screen here? All right, so what you're going to do, hopefully, if you want to join us, which I hope you all do, because it's free to join and there's just so much amazing things that's going to be in here. ForceForGoodCollective.com, it's going to take you to a homepage that looks like this. Tells you kind of what Brittany just talked through, a little bit less in depth, but you'll see just everything that's included in here. To join the community, you can click on this button right here. If you've ever used the platform Circle before, you might already have an account and it'll attach to that, so you can use the same email. If you have a new email that you want to use, you just enter that in here. And after you do that, let me just show you kind of how you'll sign up. Of course, I didn't follow the password rules all the way. It will send you a code to your inbox. And once you get that, it'll have you reset your password. So don't choose one that you really like at first or that you're attached to. Or you can skip it, I suppose. Once you get in here, this is what you want to do. Add a profile picture of yourself so that there's a members directory, so they'll be able to see you and get to know like your face so that when we're on these meetings, our monthly calls, you can really get to know people. So add your photo, time zone, you can add your headline, bio, where you're located. You'll be able to search for different people and filter for different people in your area. And if your business has a website, you can add that there. If you want people to be able to see your email, you can make that visible. If you don't want to receive messages from members in the community, you can prevent messaging and then make sure you click to keep showing your profile in the member directory so people see that. Once you're in here, it's going to give you a kind of just pop up to just welcoming you to the Force for Good. Make sure you read our community code. These are kind of like the bylaws that we live by and like who we are, how we show up, all that good stuff. Brittany went over a lot of that, but if you want to go over any reason why you would be removed from this group, which I don't anticipate any of you being, that is all in our code of conduct as well. But once you've kind of reviewed that, then you'll be within the community itself. So your homepage here is going to look like a feed of information. So all the new things that pop up will be here on the home feed. You can see that we've already got the May monthly speaker call, the ones that are free to join, set up here. So you can hit RSVP. It'll say, thanks, you're registered. It'll make sure to send you updates. The monthly calls ongoing will happen within Circle. So it will happen within this platform. So once you're registered, and you can see the May monthly call, you'll be able to see the June one. You just hit you're going. It will alert you that there's a live room joining, and then it's just like Zoom from there. So it's pretty intuitive. Brittany's added a welcome message here, so you can view that once you join. But then over on the left-hand side, this is kind of going to be like your guiding star of everything that's going on in here. Your welcome page. This will just kind of give you that community code and the welcome message. Events and calendar is where you can see different options of like mission trips that you can attend, different events going on. We're still building so many of these out and adding new ones daily. So make sure to check that out. You'll get like a little badge over here when something new gets added. It won't notify you every time unless you have that turned on. Um, but that will be set up so that you can kind of just see new things. Daily Fire, nothing in here yet, but Daily Fire to be coming. These are going to be motivational videos. I know that Brittany watches YouTube all the time of things that like just going in the background. So podcasts that you love that you want to share with people. If you've got a motivational video that you want to share, post that in here. Awesome songs, quotes, anything that you guys kind of see, that's the area for this. And then we've got our community chat as well. And so if you've been in GeForce previously, you'll know that we've had the WhatsApp chat. That will be kind of how this exists within here too, where you can just kind of chat, you can share updates, you can connect, and you can message people directly as well. But that's what the chat board is. And then the monthly speaker calls will be ongoing, like those live rooms that I just talked about, and where you can find all the past ones as well. These other things down here on the side, those are kind of the paid tiers or like the level ups if you want to be more involved in that. Over here on the left. And so you can see that they're locked because the um, account that I just made doesn't have access to that. But if you want to join like that $50 per month level, you just hit join now. It'll take you to a page. You can cancel at any time to sign up for it. And then as soon as you do that, you'll have access to everything underneath the Collective Pro. Same thing with the investor circle, where it's going to have like the deal flow and opportunities. So this community will kind of just be structured to the way that you've built out how you want to be a part of the Force for Good. And so we've got GeForce Entrepreneurs as well, which is Brittany's 12-week coaching program. There's a whole page within here that tells you all about that. If that's something that you're interested in, I know that a lot of you on here have already done GeForce Entrepreneurs, but all of that will be within this platform as well. You'll also be able to see all of our members. I can see some of you guys already joining. You can connect with them in here. I think it's really awesome that you can filter for people near you. The whole purpose of this is building a community of like-minded people and then like just giving you your network and your people that like Brittany talked about. Like she searched so long to find, and so she just made the community herself. And so like by all means, like find people that are in your area, connect with them outside of the online chat, all of those different things, come to the events. It's going to be a really, really awesome place. So that's really all you need to know on the community for now. There will be new posts going up in there. If you need to connect with anybody on our team, you'll see that me and Gabby and Brittany are all in there as admins. Shoot Gabby and I a direct message within Circle. Happy to help you guys out, figure anything out. But yeah, scan that QR code and you can join right now.
Yay! Amazing. I wanted to call on, thank you, Tori. We're excited to have you guys in here. I want you to type in the chat which part of that you're most excited about. Is it the events? Is it the trainings? Is it the trips? Is it the calls? Which part's most exciting to you guys? Again, we're just launching this now and we're going to keep building it together. You're on the hook to helping us build this together to make it the best thing it possibly can be. Nobody knows everything at all. We're all learning. And I've never met a community like what we're looking to build here. And with that, I've got Jeremy Locke, my incredibly hot husband, who is actively on a mission right now. Jeremy, you able to pop on, babe? Say a couple words?
Can you all see me?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited for this. I think it's been a long time in the making, and I'm actually out on mission right now in South America, living inside of my purpose. And man, there's so much work to do, and we need more people aligned to not only help us with the missions that we're doing, but we want to help you all with the missions that you're doing. So that's really what this is about, is just coming together to be forces for good, forces for God, finding out that disease that you have inside of you, that burning or that yearning or that you feel uncomfortable. It's because, in my opinion, you're just not on purpose yet, right? So find your purpose on purpose. This is going to be an imperfect community, but it's going to build, and we want it to grow it together, and we want to put everybody on what their God-given purpose is. So I'm really excited to see this thing grow. I'm really excited for each and every one of you that is on what your purpose is. And I want to be a part of it as well. So God bless you all, and thank you so much, and good job, baby.
Thanks, love. Say a prayer for the team. Guys, they are working on a mission that involves multiple children getting rescued that are currently being exploited. So say a prayer for them. They are on mission right now. And throughout the day, Jeremy's been meeting with different, prosecutor's office and teeing up this mission. And he just kept texting me. He's like, Brittany, no matter what, we can never stop doing this. It's so needed. It's so important. And you don't have to care about trafficking to be part of this group, guys, but we want you to have the clarity. It doesn't matter if you got it at 12 or you got it at 68. We want you to have the clarity and the resources and the community that's going to push you to do the thing. Guys, if I even started to tell you the hell we've been through doing what we do, we could only do it because we've had an amazing community around us that hold our hands up when they get tired of fighting. But it's worth it. And these two, hopefully, little kids that Jeremy helps rescue in the next couple days, in the name of Jesus, that goes well. Their whole world will be different for the rest of their entire life because we didn't quit when the attacks came. We didn't quit when things got hard. We didn't quit when we got cancer. We didn't quit. It's about not quitting on the calling. And so I want to help you do that. I love you. Thank you all for your feedback. We are done with our official call, but if people want to stay on and ask any questions, then we will have you here. We are available for you here for about 5 minutes of questions. Any questions? Excited seeing these heroes on this call too.
I got no questions, but I'm driving. Brittany, this is a great idea because this
Thank
allows
you.
me to bring other people locally on board and get them into the community as well. So I think this is a great job. Good job.
Thank you, Alex. Good to hear from you. Good to see you. One of our heroes. Anybody else? Ming Ming, if you want more information about the Yellowstone hike, if you are in the community, it's got more information in there. So you click the events and then they've got like an application to sign up. And they'll ask you those questions and then you can be first on the list. All right. Jorge.
Thanks, Brittany. It's good to see
You're
you.
very welcome. Good to see you. Awesome.
I just
And
wanted to
Jorge,
hop on Brittany and say that I know a couple people are asking. We will send out a replay of this to your emails. You should have that tomorrow for sure. And then it will also live within the welcome page of the community. And make sure if you have anybody that you want to invite to this to join, like you are welcome to share the URL with them. It's officially public. Anybody that you think would be a good fit. So,
yes.
And then there's a post within the community once you join to drop your top takeaways from this call.
Jorge's asking, looking at buying a laundromat, anyone have experience within this business model? That's the kind of question you can ask in the circles, which is great. And then who doesn't love helping? This whole group is here because we love helping people. So I know somebody that would have experience and would love to jump on with you. All right, guys. So wonderful seeing you. I'm so excited to get this started and have us grow this thing together. God bless you all. May the force for good be with you all.
Bye, Brittany.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, Britt.
Thanks, Brittany.
Bye.
Thank you, Brittany.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Brittany.